What's up, guys? Today we're breaking down mid lane Nocturne. Mid lane Nocturne? Are you trolling? Nocturne belongs in the jungle. Well, I get where you're coming from. But actually, Nocturne can perform really well in the mid lane too. First off, Nocturne's Q has insane range. You can easily farm against mages from a distance, and winning trades is an absolute breeze. When you hit an enemy with your Q, Nocturne leaves a shadow trail on the ground. While standing on this trail, Nocturne's attack damage increases by up to 50. Maxing Q gives you a flat plus 50 AD. Honestly, that's kind of absurd. That's basically holding a BF sword for free, letting you completely stat check anyone in early to mid-game skirmishes. Sure, we get outranged by mages, but as you can see, we still completely win the trade. What makes the Q skill great isn't just the attack damage. While you're on the shadow trail, your movement speed increases by 20%. Plus, since it leaves a dark trail under enemies when you hit them, you can keep the advantage while chasing down fleeing opponents. Using Q gives Nocturne insane mobility, letting you just run down ranged mages and force an all-in. Maxing out Q cuts down the cooldown to around 6 to almost 7 seconds. Having this kind of uptime on high damage in the mid lane means you can keep the enemy under constant pressure. Also, since the mana cost is relatively low, you can actively balance minion clearing and harassing the enemy without worrying about running out of mana, which makes it a very strong choice for the mid lane. Starting with the Q skill to chip away at the enemy's health, and ultimately combining it with your ultimate, Paranoia, to go for a sudden kill is the basic winning pattern for Mid Nocturne. Oh, look at Mel. Low HP, and still greedy enough to stay in lane? And we just hit level 5 and unlocked our ULT, our absolute power spike. Talk about disrespect. Time to punish this mage and send her back to gray screen. And boom, we got the kill. Mid lane gap, completely established. From this point on, it's smooth sailing for us to take over the entire map. Talk about a total nightmare for Mel. She outranges us and has poke, but Nocturne just runs her down with Q and spell shields everything with W. Absolute unplayable matchup from her perspective. Surprisingly, Nocturne's passive gives him insane wave clear. Just shove the wave fast and start roaming to other lanes. That is literally every mage's worst nightmare. Every time your ULT is up, you gotta be hunting for kills. Keep your eyes on the global map and look for free pickings. Unlike jungle, Mid Nocturne is right dead center of the map, meaning you can impact pretty much any lane or the enemy's jungle at any time. That is a massive advantage. Ollystar stole a kill, but honestly, Dragon lane is completely doomed for them at this point. Alright, Dragon is up, and it looks like a team fight is brewing. But hold your horses, Nocturne is pretty squishy, so do not ego engage and run in first. As Nocturne, your primary targets are low HP enemies, squishy mages, and ADCs. If any of them step out of line and overextend, make them pay for it. The absolute best thing about Nocturne's ULT, it's point and click guaranteed. Even if your mechanics are dog water, you just press R, click on someone, and you're locked on. If you struggle with ganks, Nocturne is literally free yellow. It is so brain off easy. The main reason Nocturne is totally gigabusted in the patch 7.2b meta comes down to a massive meta shift. Defensive safety nets like Zhonya's Stasis are way harder to itemize now, which makes his dive so much deadlier. Back in the day, squishies like mages and ADCs could just easily rush Stasis as a standard insurance policy to completely shut down Nocturne's ultimate. However, with the new season's item and enchantment reworks, getting your hands on that defensive safety net is way harder now. Because of that, you're seeing way more games where players just can't bail themselves out of Nocturne's dives anymore. Some people try to cope by rushing QSS as a Stasis alternative, but let's be real, it doesn't actually solve the Nocturne problem. Sure, it cleanses the CC, but you're still eating the massive burst damage from his ULT and getting completely vaporized. We're seeing so many clips where the enemy literally just evaporates to the bread and butter combo. R gap close, Q, and ignite. They have zero counterplay to it. If they don't have stasis in their inventory, it's basically a free golden ticket. You just press R, delete their health bar in 1 second, and cash in that shutdown gold. Basically, the winning formula on Nocturne right now is all about closing out games before anyone can afford defensive items and abusing that window where they have zero safety nets. That meta shift is exactly why he's not just a standard jungler anymore. He's a complete mid lane win con. Whenever Pantheon drops in with his ULT, 90% of players are gonna jump you with W right away. But guess what? Nocturne's W, Shroud of Darkness, completely shuts that down by spell shielding Pantheon's W stun. Nocturne's passive gives his autos and spells a chunk of bonus magic damage on a cooldown, while healing him for the damage dealt. Because it works on minions too, it's an absolute game changer for keeping your health topped up in both lane and jungle. Plus, it heals you more depending on how many targets you clip. It lets you shove waves for free while topping off your HP, making you surprisingly scrappy and hard to kill in extended trades. Honestly, this passive is the exact reason why he can actually flex into the mid lane and crush it. We already broke down the Q, but it's basically Nocturne's bread and butter damage tool. He fires out a long-range Duskbringer skill shot, tagging enemies and leaving a trail behind. While you're running on that trail, you get a massive chunk of stats, up to 50 bonus AD, which is basically a free BF sword, plus 20% bonus move speed. Against ranged matchups like mages, you just use that speed to sprint right at them, cash in that insane AD buff, and completely win the trade. People sleep on this, but Nocturne's W is actually low-key gigabroken. It's a cracked defensive tool. Pop it, and you get a nice chunk of attack speed, up to 50%, alongside a spell shield that swallows any incoming ability whole. And if you actually time it right and block something, that attack speed bonus gets doubled to a massive 100%, and you drop a slow on anyone nearby. Blanking the enemy's core, CC, or hard skills with this just completely warps any 1v1 in your favor. Izzy links you to a target with a shadow tether. Stick to them for 2 full seconds, and they get hit with a 1.2 second fear and a brutal 90% slow. Once that tether connects, running away is basically impossible. It's your ultimate insurance policy for sticking to targets after you are dive and completely locking them down. Nocturne's ULT blinds the entire enemy team, turning off their minimap and vision, and lets him lock onto a target from downtown and nuke across the map. The base damage is super high, scaling from 160 all the way to 400, and with Zhonya's Stasis basically out of the picture this patch, it's the ultimate executioner tool to delete any isolated squishy. Long story short, we still lost this. Classic assassin curse though. Even if you get fed early, if you don't keep the gas pedal down and close it out fast, it's doomed. The longer the game goes, the more useless assassins feel. Assassins like Nocturne are literally built to peak during the early to mid-game window. Meanwhile, enemy mages and marksmen are ticking time bombs. Once they hit 3 to 4 items, an approach will build around the 35-minute mark. They become absolute scaling monsters spitting out terrifying, game-ending damage. A fed assassin early on snowballs hard by catching out isolated targets. But as the game drags on, enemies stop walking around solo and start grouping up as duos or trios. If you try to pull off your usual reckless dive, you're walking straight into a trap and getting turned around. We also drop the ball on side lane wave management. Even if you're gigaffed, if you just ignore the waves and let enemies free farm safely under their towers, you're literally handing them a free ticket to scale and letting their carries catch up. If a fed assassin wants to actually do anything in late game teamfights, rule number 1, never be the one who goes in first. When the fight kicks off, hang back, keep your distance, and literally wait until you see the enemy team blow all their key CC and stasis on someone else first. If you're ahead, you want to hard push side lanes right before major objectives like Baron or Dragon spawn, forcing the enemy to send someone to match you. If they send just one guy, you catch and delete them. If they send a whole squad to deal with you, boom, your team pivots and takes the opposite objective or towers completely for free. Honestly, we lost this because our jungle and bot lane had absolute zero macro or objective awareness. Just completely ignored the setup, and boom, free Baron for the enemy. That completely doomed us. Sure, you're gonna drop games here and there, but Mid Nocturne is an absolute machine for stacking kills and dictating the entire map's pace. S ranks, A ranks, or SVPs, you'll be farming those left and right. When playing Mid Nocturne, it's great if your friendly jungler is AP. Otherwise, your team comp gets way too heavy on ADE. Alright, that's gonna wrap it up for this one. If you guys enjoyed the gameplay and breakdown, don't forget to smash that like button and sub for more.